Well, yeah, as I'm thinking about that, it kind of like what I wanted to say is because this morning it's just so funny. You just said hockey factories. Hockey factories triggered me to think back of the talent code. The talent code makes me think about that success leaves clues. And this morning, I was revisiting something that a lot of the kids should have got from a skill development standpoint. They should have had it nailed down. But the problem is, not enough of them pay attention to the details. So, speaking of that, you said hockey factories. So, so he's been around studying different um, development models around the world. So he's found that some things are interesting in certain places. They do certain things and whatever. So it's like the talent code. There's success leaves clues, right? Success leaves clues. So if you look at like different pockets of the world or different coaches or different environments, they there's a success factory sometimes. And sometimes it comes from places where the population isn't big, but they have like per capita, like spitting out hockey players or accountants or whatever it is that you're doing, right? And or there's patterns, right? So like one of the things that you'll notice, like if people pay attention to my better students is, and this is what I'm on them all the time, is that when they have a puck in the offensive zone or even passing, is that I'm trying to eliminate all dust, like no stick handling, as much as you possibly can, and that by the focus of that being one of our things, it's like an actual really good habit. And if anyone's to pay attention of our players that we work with, they're going to notice that that's a pattern. It's something that that is a high focus, right? So you'll notice someone else that does just maybe you have a skills coach that's a 10 and 2 guy that just loved teaching 10 and 2s, and all of a sudden you see like things come out of that coach where there's a little bit more usage of that. Like everyone's got an expertise and stuff. Anyway, so you look around the world and you'll see Sweden does like maybe as defensemen or these big giant defensemen that are really good or forwards that are really good, and Russia has goal scoring machines and all that kind of stuff. My point is that long point is I get frustrated sometimes as a coach, but it's okay. Is that you have to continue to go back and like with some of the players and really try to get them to understand that this number one step that we're doing here is really, really important for everything else that we do because skills blend, right? So, for example, and I've said this before on the podcast, but it's worth repeating. When we do um, toe drags, which is not a toe drag, it's just it's the movement of a toe drag or reaching with a puck, which is a combination of hand movement, right? Um, Bottom hand, top hand pressure, bottom hand like a little bit light, changing your spots on the stick, and also weight transfers and stuff like that. And you work in unison. There's a reason to do that. So like I explain that to every year. Where when a new crop of kids come along, I teach them that. Okay, we're going to work on toe drags or expanding your reach, right? But I said it's not so you can toe drag guys, although it can be, but that's not the purpose of it. It's for so many other reasons. Because within that toe drag, front front, side, that around your body and stuff, all you're basically doing is learning to have reach with the puck and learning that to use your hands and feet to work together so that you're not off balance and that you can create more space and transfer your weight properly and stuff. Like, and that works for stick handling, it works for shooting, it works for passing, like and all that stuff. So, anyways, when you show the first steps, what I like to do is to take a very slow approach because it needs to be slow. That when you do skill building, um, fast is not necessarily the best way to do it because your brain has to be bought in, right? So learning something slow. So let's just say like expanding your reach with a toe drag, right? Like understanding that you're pushing with your top hand and your bottom hand's like a guide until it needs to have pressure applied to it, and then expanding your reach, your footwork has to match that, right? So I can't do it on a camera here, but it has to match that. And if you don't do it correctly, then then you're not doing the movements properly as we build on that. So taking a slow approach of really pushing with your, let's say I'm a left-handed, so I want to push out. So when I push out with my top hand, my top and bottom hand, but my top hand is going to be in all control, I should be also transferring my weight from my right to my left, right? So that I'm pushing and I'm reaching, as I'm not, my body's not fighting my legs aren't fighting my upper body. So okay, that's the first actual step. So you can do that stationary. You can do it from the side. You can do it to the front. You can do a combo of all that kind of stuff, and do it slow so that you have a good feel. But most people, like, it's kids. I'm not trying to um, specify an age, but like there's a point where something doesn't work and we have to go back to A. So like I like them to spend the time and have the patience to get through an hour of very slow movement work so that they have good feel and it's a natural movement no matter what. So that when we add a different skill to it, it's like, oh, it's this plus this or this plus this. Like it's a natural reaction. So today I was showing we were doing some different shooting, but then today I was doing an odd angle shot, which would keep the puck in front of you off a pass or making a move would be in front of you. So what most people that have not worked on proper expanding your reach and stuff, what they do is instead of like what they do to shoot the puck is they have to pull it into their feet stick handle again and then get it to where the sweet spot is. Whereas I was showing if you understood your expanding your reach, your toe drags, whatever you call it, you can catch a pass way out here and it's all one movement. It could come in and off with the pull in and stuff. So I was saying that was a long-winded thing to say when you're learning a skill, especially if you have someone explaining why, like you get that they know what they're doing, you should really pay attention to the smallest details and get the beginning stages of those details because it's going to help translate into all different skill sets. Do you know what I mean? So like, and I told them that I said, like, if you guys would have actually, instead of just hurrying through this part, as a group, you could see some guys just want to get busy doing something else, but they gave up so much by not taking the 1 hour to really hone in and then add to that skill. And it's so you got to keep revisiting, and it's like, wow. And my thing is like when, like I said, success leaves clues, and when you have someone teaching, like, so for example, we have with our BioSteel Academy, Dan has really taken a step into the business. Like, so Dan is actually the owner of BioSteel, and he's a really smart guy, bright guy. Really like him, right? Like, and a real personable guy. But like the bottom line is that he knows how to run a company. And then since he stepped in, like just cleaning up some stuff that we do, like anybody here, including myself, can learn just how he attacks things and his mindset. Don't just try to get through the business. Like if you actually just watch his steps and ask some questions and just step back for a second and don't skip the little details that he's teaching us from a business perspective and from a sales perspective, and like you're going to understand why he's successful. Like even the last week or two, you could just say, okay, this is what makes them different, right? So when you're having a coach that knows what they're doing, and I suggest this to kids all the time, especially as you get to the junior levels. Like youth hockey coaches don't necessarily know things inside out; they're just sometimes just coaching. But when you have a professional coach, a skills coach, someone that's worked with people, someone that can explain why you're doing something and give you little details. It's like you might want to really hone in on what they're saying and make sure you get it as perfect as you can so that you can build on those skill sets. And that's the problem. A lot of kids, a lot of players, a lot of people in business, whatever, they want to skip over the stuff and a businessman just wants to become rich. It's like, there's all those steps to becoming that, right? Successful. And the same with on the ice. There's a lot of steps to